Now let's go with offensive lineman. Give me one offensive lineman.
Offensive lineman, the best offensive lineman I have to say is probably Tom Mikowski. Um, the guys in the East Chicago, he was inducted to the East Chicago Hall of Fame a couple years ago. Um, Went to IU, had a great career at IU. Parade All-American. I played with the guy, 6'3", 270. Great athlete, was a basketball player. A lot of people don't know played baseball. Was very tough and was a genius in the classrooms. He actually came also from a football family. His daddy, Chet Likowski, was a coach at East Chicago Roosevelt, so he was a benefit. He was a coach's kid. So that actually put this guy on a whole nother level from a lot of guys that we played.
At the time, who would you take?
The next best offensive lineman I would say would probably be wow, it's hard to put into words, but I want to say it has to be Juan Torres. Juan Torres was a guy, he came out in 1993. I believe he was a center, first team all area, 6'2", 270. He actually coaches at TF North now. I played with Juan. He was a sophomore when I was a senior. Guy was big, strong, fast. He was, they called him Baby Likowski because he was a straight A student. He mimicked everything Tom did. He hit the weights. He was strong. So I'll say he probably was the next best guy. After him, I'd probably have to say it would be one of my idols, Sasha Duacic. Sasha, he came out in '89. The guy was 6'4", he was about 270. He played backside tackle. Went to North Carolina. I mean, he was just actually dominant. He blocked for Scott Upshaw. I mean, this guy, every play I watched him as a freshman, he was blowing guys off the ball, and he was doing it with ease. And that'll be probably my top guys as offensive linemen.
D lineman.
D lineman, hands down. A lot of people got a lot of debate, but I say hands down was Robert Smith. The guy was a freak of nature, a freak of nature.
Now, when you say debating about what, I mean, because hands down, in my opinion, he's the best too.
Some people debated between him and Kawan Short, but
okay.
I say hands down is Robert Smith. Guy was a freak of nature, 6'4", 260, 270. Ran legit 4.6 40. Could actually stand under the basket and dunk two hands. The guy was unblockable. I tell people now, I hated being an underclassman because I played center and I was going against this guy every day in practice. And I tell people, I'm not scared to tell them, I get my butt kicked every day in practice, but I wasn't the only one. And it was just a lot of things that he did that made him the best. After that, I'll say it had to be Kawan Short. It's another guy who was freaking nature basketball player. Everybody knows state champ. Plays at Purdue now. The guy just he was better than everyone at his level. He really made his mark when he went to the Michigan camp after his junior season and came out rated now as the #1 defensive lineman out of that camp. Wow. After that, I'll probably have to say Damon Smith Williams. This is another guy. This guy was a linebacker. Damon Smith Williams. The guy was a linebacker. His junior senior year, they moved him to the D line, and he just dominated every single play. He also was an offensive lineman, but by that time they moved him to fullback.
Yeah.
His senior year. But that just goes to show you how great of an athlete he was. He was a dominant lineman. But those are my top 3 defensive linemen.
Linebacker.
Linebackers, Dante Smith, hands down. Dante Smith, no one's better. has every tackling record, I believe, at Chicago Central. Was 2-time Hammond Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. Led the team in tackles 2 straight years. Guy was a great running back also. He had great hands. They had how many teams you actually saw had a linebacker returning punts? I mean, that's how dominant this guy was. How much athletic he was. Was a hitter. Made a lot of big plays. The next guy I would say would be Royce Love. 6'2", 235. Decent speed. Guy was a hitter, playmaker. Was another brainiac, genius. Read offenses like it was nothing. He was a film junkie. I played with this guy. He sit there and watch film. Like, after practice over, he's sitting there watching film. Like, you go home now, Royce. No, I'm watching film. But that's the type of player he was. After that, I want to say probably was Adrian Knowles. Another guy, 6'4", 225. Went to Central State. Guy made a lot of big plays. So he was the next guy I have to say. But those are my top 3 linebackers.
What did Aaron Smith feel in that?
Aaron Smith probably would be the 4th guy on that list. He's a guy that played. He could play middle, outside linebacker. Had great speed. Guy went to Cincinnati. I really liked the guy, but he came out. He was probably one of the smaller guys out of that group.
Okay.
Cornerback, hands down, was Keon Jackson. You know, this guy was a shutdown corner. He played safety and corner his senior year. The guy could guard anybody. If I had to put together any receiver that came out this area or any receiver that out of Central, you can put Keon Jackson on him one-on-one and nothing was going to get past. Guy he was probably one of the fastest corners come out of East Chicago, one of the biggest at 6'1½". Went to Toledo, had a great year at Toledo. After that, I want to say Vincent Clark. Vincent Clark was a guy who came up in my era. He is one of those guys who came up in the street football league also. So like I said, you get this guy, now you get him on pass, now you got a great player.
And how about Rodney Reynolds, Antoine Bullard, what kind of guys?
Next on my list would probably be Antoine Bullard. He'll be the 3rd. The guy, he was another just great athlete. He was another guy you could actually put on a guy man to man on an island. But he's low on my list because of football knowledge. Vincent Clark, I gotta say, was the smartest. Keon Jackson was probably the overall best. Then I have to go with Antoine Bullard. After that, I'll probably have to go with another guy who just, the guy was a great guy. He had great speed. Was Dave McLean. If you go by DBs, overall.
Okay. How about safety?
Safety, Royce Roberson. The guy, wow. It ain't too much I can say about him. The guy, he led the team. My senior year, he was a junior. He led us in interception. Hey, you got a guy 6'1", running a 10.5 in the 100 meters, running a 4.4, was a hitter. You couldn't throw any deep on this guy. He was going to pick it off for some reason. The next guy at safety, I have to say Kimber Fry. Kimber Fry was a big guy. He was 6'2", about 190. Went to D1, played D1. Can't remember the college he went to. He started off at Central State actually. He went on to one of the black historic colleges and was a starter. He came out in 1991. The guy was a hitter. He made a lot of waves. After that, You know, it kind of thin out as far as safeties. As far as, you know, that I can remember the guys that actually did a lot. The next guy on the list will probably be at safety will be Kyle Monroe.